Reflex Protect.
Hi, I'm Alan Burris. I'm the author of Survive a Shooting and the director of active defense training for Reflex Protect. If you're watching this video, in some way you're responsible for security and training at your institution. And I'm here to help share some best practices to teach others what Reflex Protect is, when to use it, and how to use it. I'm sure you're all very well aware of the emphasis on school security and safety that has become a central issue facing educators, administrations, and communities nationwide. Your community is now joining many schools that are incorporating Reflex Protect into your security programs. Now let's look at how you can introduce Reflex Protect products and best train your individuals to use Reflex Protect if they ever have to in an emergency. If you haven't already watched the How It Works video, I encourage you to do that now on the Reflex Protect website. It's pretty self-evident and the instructions are very basic on how to arm and deploy the Reflex Protect units. For anyone familiar with firearms, it's pretty basic and intuitive how these work. But Reflex Protect is not a firearm. It's a non-lethal defensive tool that anybody can use to defend themselves in a violent situation. Throughout the years that I've been training and teaching others in safety principles and self-defense, I've used all kinds of handheld weapons, including many of the defensive sprays out there. And Reflex Protect is the best spray that I have found. It's easy to use, and it's one of the only ones I would ever recommend implementing in a school environment or any other indoor environment, such as a church or a hospital. So I want you to be able to train your people in the best defensive product available for using inside. Now, would pepper spray work? Possibly. The problem is, in an indoor environment, if you spray some with pepper spray, the person spraying gets it too. So does everyone else in the room. I would not want a teacher to spray pepper spray with little kids in the classroom because they would be coughing and their eyes would be burning and they might not even understand what's going on. The teacher can use Reflex Protect. It's only going to affect the violent person the teacher sprays, and all of the kids and anybody else in the surrounding area will not be affected. And that's why we recommend Reflex Protect for indoor use. The key to Reflex Protect's accuracy and ease of use is this patented spray head. As you can see, it's very simple to hold and use. It sprays 15 to 20 feet. The patented Reflex Protect Presidia gel, which only incapacitates the violent person sprayed, as I said, not everybody else in the room. The Presidia gel is more effective than pepper spray because it works almost immediately upon contact with mucous membranes, unlike pepper spray that sometimes has a slow burn. Ever had a hot pepper and you bite into it and it's worse a minute later? That's pepper spray. This, you get the full effect immediately. And because it's in a gel form, it doesn't atomize and go all over the room, getting in your HVAC system and affecting everybody else in the environment. So those are some of the key reasons why this is a better product than any of the pepper sprays or other defensive sprays out there. First things first, you're the trainer at your school. But Reflex Protect wants to help you. So we have created a number of resources, including written materials, videos, an actual live video from a training that you can watch to see how we did it, and maybe even want to show that to your people. And then we actually have a user certification video at the end. So after you're all done training, they get a little bit more reinforcement of what they need to know before they print their certificates that you can keep on file. The most important thing, though, is that you have some hands-on interaction with those you're training and that you get them outside training with the inert training units. So the first time that they ever have to use one of these isn't picking up a live unit. They've already comfortable because they've practiced with the black inert units. That brings us to a key safety principle. Only train with the black cans. White cans have the actual product. Black cans have an oil-based gel that sprays identical to the real product, but there's no active CS ingredient. don't ever train with white cans. Only use the black ones. And that's for your safety and everyone else that's training. When training, it's important to have plenty of inert training units so everybody gets comfortable spraying it and has an opportunity to practice. But you also want other materials so you can show people what is being offered, how the docking stations work, what the actual product is, what Reflex Remove is, and how it works. And you also want to make sure you have a number of targets. And they come with no sunglasses, and there should be one with sunglasses right there. So you can practice spraying the eyes, or you practice spraying right above glasses if the subject that you're spraying was wearing eye protection in the form of the glasses. Your customer service rep will provide you instructions for setting up a specific folder just for your organization on the Reflex Defense site. It will include the names and access codes for each individual you're training so you can track who has begun the training, when they have completed it, and when they receive their printable user certification. It also will let you know when they're due to renew that certificate. There's an easy-to-follow video that shows you how to do that, or just ask the friendly Reflex Protect customer service staff for help. As I mentioned earlier, the last step in training your staff will be to have them watch a 20-minute video showing my fellow Reflex Defense trainer, retired police captain Ben Gladwin, teaching an educator everything she needs to know about using Reflex Protect. Before you get to the point of actually practicing with the inert units, it's important that you cover the basics of when to use Reflex Protect with your staff. The important things to stress to the people you're training is for them to be able to defend themselves. A person threatening physical force must have the intent, means, and opportunity to threaten or inflict harm. Intent means the threat must demonstrate an intent through verbalization or body language. That means the person must be able to articulate why they believed a person had an intent. And that's usually by a vocalization or threatening body language. Means is where the threat actually has the physical capabilities to carry out the articulated or perceived aggression or resistance. They have to have the ability to actually carry out the threat. If an individual is a small child, obviously they don't have the means to carry out a threat, even if they yelled an intention to hurt somebody. Opportunity means the threat must have access to a person and or an object to carry out the articulated or perceived aggression. That means they have to be within the distance. If I have something between me and that person that they cannot get through, they don't have the opportunity to hurt me. And therefore it would not be self-defense for me to do something back to them. So they have to have intent, means, and opportunity. And it's the totality of the situation, all of those factors combined, that will allow you to legally and morally defend yourself from that physical threat. Threat factors may include combative skills or training, age, sex, size and strength, multiple threats, mental state, and influential circumstances may include the close proximity to a weapon, injury or exhaustion, disability, previous experience, special knowledge, terrain and environment, ground level, or confinement. When faced with an armed intruder, your staff should be trained in some model of response. It could be the federal run, hide, fight, or it could be another model such as Safariland or Alice. Reflex Protect training will incorporate with any of those models to help you with the fight or the defense portion of that model. Now at Reflex Protect, we offer full active shooter, active threat response training using my unique triangle formula, which has escape, deny, defend as the actions that you must take in a severe situation. So regardless if you use our model or someone else's model, Reflex Protect is there for that fight portion. But your staff shouldn't forget the other alternatives, because all three are valid depending on the situation and circumstances. Because we always have to remember, when violence starts, seconds count. And when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. You are your own first responder, and Reflex Protect will help you respond. Let's take a look at a few sample minutes from the user certification video where Ben instructs a teacher on the best use of Reflex Protect.
But to start with, I'm going to bring somebody in to help us walk through how to use Reflex Protect in a high-stress situation. I'd like to introduce you to Nicole. She is a counselor, special ed teacher who's going to work through Reflex Protect with me. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. And I just want to let you know I'm not comfortable. No peace of mind is happening for me right now.
That's perfectly understandable, and I promise you this won't be scary. In fact, after we've walked through this, I'm willing to bet that you're going to feel more empowered for your safety and the safety of those around you in the workplace.
Okay.
Great. So we'll start by showing you the Reflex Protect live unit. You'll know this is a live unit because it's a white can with a blue label. It's also in the docking station, and later on we're going to pick a place to install this dock so that Reflex Protect is handy when you need it. But we're going to probably have maintenance install that dock for us.
I was thinking that would be a good idea.
Great, leave it to the professionals, right? Okay, so this is the inert training unit. It is the black can with the white label. And I'll just let you take that and get familiar with it and just tell me what you think about it.
Seems pretty obvious.
That's great. It's really designed to be intuitive. What I would suggest is holding it with two hands, and when you're ready to fire, it's as simple as just thumbing that safety up and forward. That's great. How does that feel?
Feels a little steadier, but does it also work if I'm one-handed as well?
It does, and I definitely suggest practicing both ways. The first time that you use this shouldn't be the real emergency, so you want to have a little bit of experience.
Okay, I can try both. Practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice does make perfect.
That's awesome. We're definitely going to try and get as close to perfect practice as we can. The only thing we're missing is a volunteer for the actual live spray.
This stuff really hurts, huh?
It does. I've been sprayed, and it is horrible. So it's important to remember that this is absolutely serious stuff and not to be messed with.
Roger that. Okay,
so I'm going to take your Reflex Protect, and this is how it looks coming right out of the box. And you're going to notice a little difference.
Okay. There's a thingy here?
Yeah, this thingy is the trigger block. That's in there to prevent accidental discharge during shipping, or if it's kept in a place where a foreign object could interfere with the trigger mechanism.
So like if it's in my purse, will a pen or something set it off?
Exactly. If you're carrying it somewhere where something might get in the way, you want to have the trigger block in. Let's go over how to remove it.
So how does it work?
Super simple. When you're holding your Reflex Protect, make sure you put your middle finger right on the stabilizer there. And once you have the stabilizer, you're going to take your index and push it straight through. And the key is straight through, don't push forward. That's great. Let's use your two-handed grip and turn towards the target.
Okay.
All right, does that feel comfortable?
Whoa, I feel like a badass.
Easy there, Turbo. Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's revisit your armed intruder training. And what you know from that, if you're in a situation where somebody is obviously coming in aggressive and you already have your Reflex Protect out and ready to go, what's happened to get there?
So reasonably, the guy that I'm aiming at is a physical threat to myself or others, and there's an imminent danger of serious injury or death. So basically, I better do something or someone's seriously going to get hurt.
Okay, so what about two students causing a disruption or maybe even fighting each other?
Well, Reflex Protect is definitely not a classroom management tool, although I can see how that can be tempting sometimes.
Okay, all right, and schools frequently get angry parents?
And that can be a fine line, and it doesn't really matter who the assailant is. That could be an angry parent, a current student, a former student, or even a stranger. All that matters is the person, if they're a threat physically and they're bent on hurting or killing someone.
That's great, and I like that you pointed out it doesn't matter who it is, it's really the action and the threat. So, are you ready to give this a try?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. Okay, go ahead. It's great, you're a natural. So tell me what you did there.
So I just pointed towards a target, pushed up on the safety, and I used the sight, aimed at his face, sprayed.
That's great, and how'd you know to aim for his eyes?
The target kind of says so.
Yep. All right, I'm feeling kind of unnecessary. This thing obviously trains itself.
Not so fast. So what if he's wearing sunglasses?
I'm glad you asked. Tell you what, let's take a break. We'll get a new target set up, and while we're doing that, we'll go over the doc and we'll answer your question then.
Okay.
When I'm training security professionals, sometimes I'll have one of those guys that he just doesn't buy Reflex Protect until he's tried it out firsthand. If you have one of those individuals, great. Go ahead and do a live demonstration. Just make sure you have a lot of Reflex Remove handy to help him after he's been sprayed. I guarantee you he'll thank you for it. Now, if you don't want to go to that measure, just go ahead and play the video that we have recorded during a live training where we had one of those skeptic police officers volunteer for just that purpose. It's up to you to have as much fun with a security professional as you want, but I don't advise spraying anyone that doesn't know what they're getting into. Only spray somebody that's been there and done that before, and then they can compare it with that and they can actually give you an honest testimonial of why Reflex Protect is better, just like the police officer in the video that we show. Now let's get back to Ben and Nicole.
Okay, Nicole, remember when we talked about the docking station that we were going to let maintenance install for us?
Yeah, that was just a few moments ago.
Yeah, it was. Alrighty, so let's get to it then. This is what it looks like when it's attached to something. The idea is that it can be face down in a drawer, upright in a cabinet, or even under a desk. Really, the point is that it's handy when you need it, but still can be out of sight.
So like my purse, for example?
Well, not the best place for work, but if you'd like, I'll set you up with one for home or travel.
Okay, so how does it work? It looks pretty obvious.
It is, it's super easy. It just snaps out. When you're installing it, the bottom goes in first, and then you snap the trigger guard into the top. Coming out, just like so, pull out from the top. How about if you try it?
Okay.
Piece of cake, right?
Yep, easy enough.
So if you'd like to open your drawer and take a look there, you'll see that we've installed one for you.
Easy enough. I could have installed it myself.
Yeah, just a couple of screws or some double-sided tape that actually comes with the docking station too. So remember when we were talking about what if the bad guy was wearing sunglasses?
Also a few moments ago. Oh, I should have guessed. So even though the Presidia gel is sticky, if I shoot him at the glasses or above, will it still run behind and work?
Yes, it will. Your pinpoint target is the face or the forehead if they're wearing sunglasses. But it does come out in a tight stream, so it's only going to affect the person sprayed and won't get into the HVAC or anything like that.
Okay, so what if I miss? I feel like I'm talking a big game, but when it comes down to it, I might get freaked out and not know how to use it.
That's perfectly understandable and really quite normal. The important thing is that you train and continue to train and practice this. That way, you'll be able to know that when the spray comes out of the nozzle, you can see it and track it onto the target as you're spraying.
Okay, so just keep spraying, just keep spraying. And I suppose this works if he ducks?
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to simulate a stressful event. We're going to be back in your classroom. I'm going to have you be grading a paper and an angry person comes in, and you're going to use your Reflex Protect to stop this person.
Okay.
In order to get that kind of excitement of the real world, I'm going to make some noise and put a little bit of pressure on you.
Okay.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll have you close the drawer and turn around like you're grading a paper. Go, 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 go. Wow, that was awesome.
That's intense.
Okay, how do you feel?
I feel good. I actually feel empowered to protect myself or others around me.
That's great. So keeping in this idea of doing things full speed, real life, how do you feel about spraying while moving?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
So that was how Ben trained Nicole in how to use the product. Now we're going to see how he trained her in when to use the product. And as I said earlier, it's extremely important that you cover when to use it and when not to use it with your staff. And it's important that you have that included in your policies. Now, if you don't have policies that cover this area, contact Reflex Protect. We have policy templates and we will work with you to have the policy that fits your organization. If you need training, if you need policies, we're here to help. That's what we're trying to accomplish. We want frontline staff and teachers comfortable using Reflex Protect so they know they have a means to defend themselves, their students, and others if violence erupts. Now, we just saw Ben up the pressure on Nicole when she's using it. Now let's look how they incorporate movement into the use of Reflex Protect.
Okay, Nicole, so just like that last spray scenario, we want to try and simulate real life. An attacker coming through the door, if they're moving in a straight line and you spray them, chances are they're going to be blinded, but at least it's going to make it difficult to see. They're going to expect you to be where they last saw you. Moving out of the way will not only help you stay safer, but also give you more opportunity to spray them. So we'll give this a dry run. When I start making noise, I want you to get your Reflex Protect, spray on the move, and remember, don't stop spraying until he looks like that.
Okay, got it.
Okay, here we go. Go, 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 go. That's great.
You are only limited by your imagination and how much time and how many inerts you have to run your staff and teachers through different scenarios to get them extremely comfortable in using this product. Now I'm going to go back to Ben and Nicole, who are going to explain Reflex Remove, a very key component to the Reflex Protect system.
Nicole, I'd like to introduce you to Sam. Sam here is an actor who's going to help us walk through a situation that would be unlikely to occur in an educational setting, but it's important that we go through the steps so we know what to do.
Nice to meet you, Sam, but you don't look so hot.
Education stakeholders sometimes forget that Reflex Protect was designed for healthcare industries. And in those situations, oftentimes an assailant, after being sprayed, will immediately turn into a patient. Reflex Remove was designed to make them better instantly and also clean up surfaces. So in the unlikely event that somebody gets a hold of Reflex Protect and misuses it, Reflex Remove is the antidote.
Thank heavens for that.
Just had to turn this into a speaking role, didn't you? All right, so for the purposes of this scenario, we're going to say that some students got a hold of a can of Reflex Protect and inappropriately used it on Sam here. So what we want to do is walk through the steps of how to take care of him since he's in pain and needs help. We're going to use the Reflex Remove, and I thought I caught you out of the corner of my eye looking at the directions on the bottle. So can you tell me?
Yes. So first I'm just going to take this and spray some onto his face, but I'm also going to spray some on this clean absorbent towel. And I'm just going to blot his face.
Okay, and why blot?
Because if you spread, it causes the Presidia gel to spread, and if you just douse and blot correctly, the Reflex Remove soaks into his skin, which neutralizes the effects of the chemical irritants, which then allows it to migrate out onto this towel.
Exactly, that's a perfect explanation. And I see that you're starting with the eyes and moving out towards the forehead, which is what I was going to recommend you do. That way you don't have any of the gel run back into the eyes. So is that helping, Sam?
Maybe, although I might need a few days off from school.
Well, Reflex Remove is going to have you back to normal pretty quickly. However, the people getting days off are probably going to be the kids that did this to you.
And Ben's right. The first step is the cleanup, but the soothing effect doesn't happen until you take another clean towel, spray some on here, and you'll want to hold this on your face for about 5 minutes. But after about 15 minutes, he should be feeling completely normal.
That's right. And in my experience in law enforcement, I've used a lot of chemical agents and had them used on me, and nothing worked as well or as fast as Reflex Remove. Not just only to get the person back to normal and feel better, but also for surfaces in case somebody missed when they were spraying.
Who says I missed the target?
Not you, the kids that sprayed him.
Oh, okay. That's better then.
All right. So while Nicole finishes up with Sam, I just want to reiterate that this is an unlikely event in an educational setting. Worst case scenario, should somebody misuse Reflex Protect, the Reflex Remove is the antidote, so things can be made right very quickly.
So those are the basics that you need to teach your staff and the teachers and anyone else that's learning about Reflex Protect. Now, security personnel, they're going to go a little bit more deep. They're going to learn a little bit more about use of force, and they're going to learn some other principles that will help them on their job. Regular staff and teachers that aren't security professionals, they need to be comfortable using Reflex Protect, and they need to know how it fits into the overall plan of escaping, denying, or defending themselves. And remember, Reflex Protect is not replacing the escape. It's not replacing barricading and denying access. It's only to be used when those avenues are not there and you're forced to defend yourself, because it gives anybody, regardless of sex, size, shape, whatever, a means to defend themselves. And that personally is a big relief of most people. It gives people a sense of peace knowing that there is something they can do. It lessens anxiety, it makes them feel better, and it just creates a safer environment rather than people being scared. We don't want people scared. We want people out there enjoying life, doing their job, and having the means to protect themselves if they have to. And if you have any questions about the training or the product that Reflex Protect provides, call one of our representatives, call one of our trainers, and we will do our very best to ensure that you get the training and products needed for your school and your situation.
Reflex Protect.